speak. My name's Sam with StandUP-America. I'm here to address how much we're spending with salaries. We spend approximately the same amount of money on our mayor as we do for our governor. They make almost the same amount of money. I think she makes maybe 1,000 more than you. She sees over 6 million people while you see over 600,000. I understand from our last town hall meeting that I spoke with you that you give 10,000 back to the community, which is good. So you do recognize that you do get a little bit more money from the community, or maybe not, I don't know. But you know, giving that back, why not make it mandatory that you make $10,000 less, or even bring it down close to $135,000? My reasoning is only because you've reduced, from what you said, your staff salaries by 50%, not their salaries, but how much you pay out in salaries. But you haven't dropped your salary at all, and you expect people to work with less people, resources, or even with less income. Why is your salary different from theirs? Why is your annual increase, and why in the last 10 years has it increased so much? Why can't we talk about maybe reducing how much you're paid while the economy is slipping?
So, you know, and again, from when I took office, and first of all, I get paid a substantial salary. There's no question about that, the amount of money I make. And it's a whole lot more I made than when I, was working running a little nonprofit, So I know it's a good salary. I've given, as you've said, $10,000 a year I've taken off, and we donated. What I do is I say to my wife, pick charities in the city of Seattle that provide direct services to people in need in the city of Seattle. And that's kind of the only criteria. Then I let her pick, because I don't want to be in that selection. And we've done that now 2 years in a row, and we'll continue to do that. The salary that I receive is set by the city council by ordinance, and then there's also a part of the city charter that actually says I'm not allowed to change my salary, right? I'm not, I'm not by charter not allowed to change my salary. So that's why I do that donation process, is a way of reflecting that. So that's the actions I've taken. Our city employees have stood up, by the way. In our first year, we came to them and we got most of our city employee unions agreed to renegotiate their contract. They had a mandatory 2% minimum raise every year, and they opened up their agreements and agreed to take actual inflation, which really helped us. My top people in my office make a lot less than the top people in the last administration did. It's not just we have fewer people, we also are paying our top people lower salaries. We asked a number of our department heads to take reductions as well. So we are very, very much aware of the fact that we know what's going on out there, and employees in government, including myself and top staff, have taken reductions. And we'll continue to do that in terms of making that donation.
Just one quick question. First, I'd like to thank you for having this. I don't mean to come at you like this. This isn't a good opportunity for us to publicly speak to you, so I encourage this, and we should have more dialogue like this. My only follow-up now is that you don't set your own salary. Council does, but you do have a voice. You could speak to them and say, hey, let's talk about this. Not lowering it this term, but for the next term. There are possibilities. There are solutions. So we could talk about this. So you're right, you can't change it, but you can ask them to.
I'm totally confused. You know we have a constitution? I'm totally confused. We're talking about China or Soviet Union empire, you know what it means? We have a constitution, and constitution very straight. Everybody have right freedom of speech. So situation right now very simple. It's not analogy to China or Soviet Union, because I think our situation much more tyranny right now than this situation, because we have democracy for 200 years, but it's very old. If it totally destroys this democracy for the last 30 years. Pure tyranny is my opinion. More dangerous than everything. So, my proposition proposition, StandUP-America, very simple. Because we cannot find one honest man who worked for government for many years. So, situation very simple. We demand every time that this council meeting come, we have right for 5 minutes talking about everything, no limitation by agenda, because agenda, for my understanding, is a pure tyranny. We cannot use as constitutional right freedom of speech and talk about problem what is we have right now in totally collapse. The problem will be worse and worse and worse. Probably in my generation, we never see a bottom. I guarantee you this. So situation very simple. 5 minutes for every council. In 1 day per month, open door to everybody like today, and everybody can come in talking in systematic way. It's only one way what is we can make changes. We right now in situation what is more dangerous for my understanding. Sorry, like China or ex-Soviet empire, you know what I mean? We need restore us republic. We need destroy us democracy. So please, 5 minutes to everybody, every council meeting, in 1 day open door to everybody like today. So we can sit down, you, mayor, with your staff in council, sit down together in one room and listen, to people, for the people and by the people. It's exactly what as I come to America, from tyranny, because I respect and fighting for this country for all my life. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, last year, I did 36 town halls and walking tours and listening sessions. So that's 3 a month. We do it neighborhood by neighborhood. We have a map up of where we've been. We have a map up of where we're going. We do it a couple of different ways. One way we do it is we publicize an evening town hall. It's very much like this, it turns out, except we don't have the beautiful city hall to do it in. It's usually in a gym at a community center. We bring our department heads to table. We have an hour of tabling, and then I'll do Q&A with people. We also do neighborhood walking tours where I'll go out with representatives of a neighborhood. They'll show me what they think is important, and then we'll conclude that with maybe an hour 15 of questioning as well. And so that's been a very important, it's very important to me to do it because of the listening, to get an understanding, to have direct contact with the people about what's important. You may have noticed, you know, media doesn't always, you know, bless the media. You know, we need a free media. We need them reporting. But there's no substitute for direct conversation, in my opinion. So we'll keep doing this, and we'll keep going out there. And here it's kind of special that we're in City Hall. In fact, I really love it that we're here in City Hall. But we also make sure we go to the neighborhoods. But I want to say something else, which is, you know, I really believe in democracy. I really believe in democracy. I believe in democracy. I believed in democracy as a citizen activist in my neighborhood. I believed in the power of neighborhood organizing. I worked to get sidewalks in my neighborhood, deal with new development that was coming. I believed in it as somebody who was engaged in the Sierra Club, that we could organize and look to the future and try to deal with these looming environmental problems in a way that would preserve things for the future. And I believe in it as, you know, starting a nonprofit, and obviously I believed in it in running for mayor, right? That there was something special about holding elected office, that there was an opportunity to do more good. But at the same time, you know, during all of this, there's plenty of reasons to be really cynical about the political system. I worked for a congressman in D.C., and he had a saying, you know, government's like a shoe. You don't notice it unless it doesn't fit. Right? And what did we see in the last year in Seattle? There are a lot of people saying government doesn't fit anymore. Right? That was the Occupy movement I'm referring to. But nationwide, I've been told by a friend of mine who follows these things, a majority of Americans identify with either the Tea Party movement or the Occupy movement. A majority of Americans identify with one of those two movements. It's about evenly split across America. I think in this city it's probably more Occupy than Tea Party. But what do they have in common? I mean, the Tea Party believed that government doesn't fit either. And this is a real challenge, right? And in part, I believe it's due to the kind of politics we've had. You know, and I can see it more now from where I am as an elected official, how politics works. You know, you have a tax break for this person. You have a park or a community center for that neighborhood. You have a special office for this purpose and a special day for that. And you collect constituencies and coalitions. And if you collect enough constituencies that way, you have a coalition. And that coalition will use their influence to get you elected, right? And money is really, really important. I mean, it costs a lot to run citywide. It costs a lot to run a congressional elections, and the people with money use it to influence power and get more money. And it's a system that appears to have worked for people for a while, but something got left out of the equation when that happened, right? After decades and decades of this, and it doesn't matter what party it was, really. I mean, I'm a Democrat, and I'm proud to say it, and I like my party a hell of a lot more than the other party, but it really doesn't matter what party it was. So after 30 years, you've got income inequality that's the biggest since the Great Depression, right? We have a stagnant economy. We have a roadway system I don't know how to fill. I don't know where we're going to find the money to fill all the potholes. We have aging infrastructure, right? We have an educational system that our state Supreme Court said violates the Constitution, that it's not the primary, that we are not meeting the constitutional duty to fund education. Is there anything more fundamental than our children's future? Right? Is there anything more fundamental than taking care of the basic parks, roads, you know, community centers that we all rely upon, our water system and our drain system? Is there anything more fundamental? So somehow or another, we've had 30 years of people getting reelected and politics like that working, but the big things haven't been taken care of. And now we find ourselves at, I believe, a time of choices. We're at a time of real choices. We don't have enough money anymore for that type of politics. And this is going to be one of the most challenging things for everyone in this room. If we're going to put money into the things that are important, that means the money's going to have to come from somewhere else, and that means someone's going to be angry, right? We're going to have to make some, just like we have to make priorities in our own life, we're going to have to make some choices about our priorities, right? We're going to have to make choices about policies. We're going to have to say, maybe there's a new and different way of doing something. It'll save us money. And that means that somebody who may have been doing it and had a job, or may have gotten funding in an organization, or may have had a tax break that worked for that company, you know, whatever, might have to lose it. And we're not going to get there. This anger that we hear from the public is, you know, Al Gore called it a primal scream of democracy. He called it a primal scream of democracy. Come on, it's time to fix it, folks. But what's very clear is it's going to take the entire community to really have a hard conversation about those choices. And that's why I go out here. That's why I listen. That's why we're talking. That's why I'm in office. I just want to say that. This is why I'm here.